Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another reading of Joseph Smith. Sans Brian Dalton today. He notified me he has got something going on. He can't be there. So I'm sorry about that, but I notified him he would be missed. I love having the fact that we have so many people that know way more about the religion I was baptized into than I ever would otherwise. And the fact that all these people have a brilliant sense of humor about it is really good too. As a matter of fact, I want to open with a comment. Metalhead posts, as an ex-Mormon who gladly signed and made sure that I was excommunicated, I find this all extremely funny and a great way for people to really get a proper understanding of the Book of Mormon. So that's the note I want to start on today. Anybody have additional commentary beyond that?
Yes.
Well, I think it's funny that this person is, here to watch and get a better understanding of the Book of Mormon, but we spend almost no time actually reading this damn book when we do these streams. So, I mean, eventually we'll get there. 5-6 years down the road, we'll finally crack into Mormon. But until that point,
I
like,
so funny.
With only 4 of us, conventional wisdom would state that we'll waste less time, but you all don't know me very well if you think that's what's going to go
You
down.
don't know me and Bryce. Even Eli Bosnick is cracking jokes over how long of episodes Glassbox does.
This could be worse, actually. Now there's nobody to get in my way.
Yeah, no, I want to hear from the chat before we get too much further. In the chat, who should be reading today?
I have a voice. It's back.
I want to start Second Nephi. I desperately want to start this.
It is sort of iconic.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
I've got 2 ardent volunteers.
I'm just excited to sound like
every
me.
Character from The Simpsons, or it's going to be Shannon playing my grandmother.
Yeah. Yes.
I have other voices. By the way, my best is Stewie Griffin, for the record. It's Kate to Passitize, Stewie. Anyway.
You do that really well, I grant.
Lots of practice. Lots and lots.
So,
just don't ask me ever to do my impressions of you 3. I don't want you to be insulted. I do them when you're not in the room, but not in the room.
I'm intrigued now.
I think we actually that's a sly way that Jimmy just used to plug his shows. We have to go over there and watch those to see what he really thinks of us.
The truth is, I just made that up.
Do that anyway.
That's nice.
Me, guys, if there's anybody that has a channel that you want to promote on this show, I'd be happy to put that in the description, just like in perpetuity.
Exotic's Lair is a channel where a guy feeds his spiders. Best channel on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Best channel there is, frankly.
Does he milk them too?
I mean, no, he's not collecting venom, but he has hundreds of these giant tarantulas, old world and new world. And he also, I don't know what his accent is. It seems to be some sort of European Spanish maybe, but I don't think he lives in that part of the world either. I think he might live, I don't know where he lives, somewhere in Asia.
I just bought a vinegaroon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you've seen his vinegaroon content?
What's that?
Have you seen his vinegaroon?
Is that like a macaroon, just not very tasty?
Well, we have in the United States, we have the giant vinegaroon.
Right.
Which is like 2.5 inches long. Imagine a scorpion with a thumb.
Oof.
So it doesn't just have the 2 pinchers, it's got a third pincher too. And instead of having a stinger on the end of a segmented tail, it has one of those old 1970s fiberglass CB aerials that they used to have on the back of bands back then.
It's called a whip scorpion.
Like.
If you've been in parts of the country and people refer to whip scorpions and you've ever seen them, they're usually talking about vinegaroons too. Have you watched it eat yet?
No, I just bought it hours ago.
Oh, get real close to its face, through glass preferably. Wait until you see the way this stuff comes out of their mouth and just starts tearing apart. It's like watching Alien. They're fucking insane. It's wild.
I always admired vinegaroons because it's the ugliest fucking bug I've ever seen.
Yeah.
See, now you're making me think of the Captain Marvel movie with the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. And they're called vinegaroons because when they whip you with their tail, some people experience the symptom of it might be a myth, but they say they experience the symptom of having the flavor of vinegar in their mouth.
Oh no, what it is they excrete acid.
Oh, so then I was just wrong.
There's two different types of acid that come at the bottom of that CB aerial that they have as a tail. They squirt out, two different types of acid, and the acid has a vinegar smell, and that's where they get their name.
I had always been told the you taste vinegar after you get it.
And this thing sounds.
I think these guys were licking it.
And if you look up a picture of a vinegar, it really is the ugliest fucking
So
bug you've
ugly.
ever seen. It's like you wanted if you wanted to own horror.
Does it fluoresce? I've never tested. I've never checked. Have you? Will it shine under a black light?
Oh, scorpions do. I don't know if this one will. It looks very similar, so it might. We'll try the black light thing.
Yeah, let me know. I'd be interested to find out.
It is a chelicerates, so it may well. Chelicerates include the xiphosers, that's the horseshoe crabs, arachnids, of course, and it also includes trilobites and eurypterids for anybody who knows what either of those things are.
Somebody at some point is going to, in the live chat, so I'll just cut it off, say, someone stop Aaron and Jimmy. They will do this the full 2 hours. And you're right. You're damn right. Oh, man, I wish you were
here. I'm going to read a couple of comments, and then I'm going to address Bryce's complaint that we take too long to get to reading the Book of Mormon.
So can we talk about, I think I I caught a world record size wolf spider. We'll skip it.
I did. Did you keep it?
Oh yeah. I've been feeding it crickets and cockroaches.
God, I killed those. Go away.
Sweet. I loved that picture you sent. Anyway, we can buy those at the reptile convention that I went to today. Yeah,
Are you coming to Houston on next Saturday for the reptile show?
We have next Saturday. There's another reptile convention in Fort Worth, and we're definitely going to be at that one. There's a sad thing is I suffer recurrent reptile functions.
I imagine I'm going to be going along. I'll be more interested in the arachnids that are often at these things too. But I'm going to probably start going along with. Oh yeah. Okay, somebody stop us.
Stop.
Someone has to stop us.
Stop.
All right, Gamer with Opinions gives $10 Canadian. Says hello, Bryce. Thank you, Raw, for having him on. So you got a fan, Bryce.
Yay!
And then
There's
Margan,
finally
$20.
Finally met them.
Morgan offers $20. Thank you very much. Says awesome show, and I wish I was on it just for the comments. This is the best way to get a layman's knowledge of Mormonism. And on that note, we should probably get to the whole Mormonism thing. Somebody should start reading.
Can we acknowledge we're in second Nephi now? We got through first Nephi.
We did.
Everybody.
Wow.
We did it, which
Took us
means
forever.
if you've watched every episode, you've now read more of the Book of Mormon than about 70% of Mormons.
At least, yeah, definitely. So here we go. Let's start in the second book of Nephi.
Let's hear it, Grandma.
All right. And now it came to pass that I, Joseph Smith, did sit down to write more of this fucking book. And my scribe said to me, dude, you need to tell us what's going on with Lehi. Who? Lehi. Nephi's parents. Lehi, the one who told him to come on this trip. You need to remember you got multiple storylines going here, dude. Well, damn it. I forgot. Okay, fine.
Make solid
That's gonna
denim.
make sense in a second. We promise.
And
oh wait, they're Levi's, not Lehi's. I was gonna make a jeans joke. I forgot.
Of course you were. And now it came to pass that after I, Bubba Nephi, had made an end of teaching my brother and our daddy Lehi, also spake many things unto them, and rehearsed unto them how great things the Lord had done for them in bringing them out of the land of Jerusalem. Okay, happy now? Okay. And he spake unto them concerning their rebellions upon the waters and the mercies of God in sparing their lives, that they were not swallowed up in the sea, because, just in case you don't remember what all happened in that previous book, I got to go and recount it all, because this is Mormonism. And he also spake unto them concerning the land of promise, which they had obtained, because they're now sitting in it, how merciful the Lord had been in warning us that we should flee out of the land of Jerusalem. For behold, said he, I have seen a vision in which I know that Jerusalem is destroyed. This is between 588 and 570 BC, by the way. When was Jerusalem destroyed?
Yeah, 587, I think.
Okay. And had we remained in Jerusalem, we should also have perished. But, said he, notwithstanding our afflictions, we have obtained a land of promise, a land which is choice above all other lands, a land which the Lord God hath covenanted with me should be a land for the inheritance of my seed. My come.
Look at me with the land of promise.
Yeah,
And
yeah, the
I
Lord
do-
hath covenanted.
I got to point this out
Yes.
too. Anybody who is not aware, the book is making its case right now that this is predicated on manifest destiny. Like the entire content of this entire book is built on the idea that the land of Americas was promised for God's chosen people, who happen to be Christians. Really soon that they'll start calling them, the name of Christ will make an appearance here pretty soon. Don't worry. I don't think I'm actually spoiling it here. But this is part of why Mormons are by and large white supremacists and are quick to erase indigenous peoples and identities and histories, because they have to believe in a book of scripture that is predicated on 19th century white European American white supremacy. So that's what the passages we're reading right now. Second Nephi starting off with a bang. Great fun.
Big time. Yes. Yeah, the Lord hath covenanted this land unto me, not you, Nephi, but me. Okay, and to my children forever. And also all those who should be led out of other countries by the hand of the Lord. Wherefore I, Lehi, prophesy according to the workings of the Spirit which is in me, that there shall none come into this land, save they shall be brought by the hand of the Lord. So there's the justification once again for Columbus. Okay. Wherefore this land is consecrated unto him whom he shall bring. And if it so be, yes.
I was just going to say you're getting a little too much into Southern grandma. My grandma was a little bit more like Grandma Clampett.
I know, but this is Lehi.
Okay.
Now, for those of us born after the invention of the computer, who is Grandma Clampett?
The Beverly Hillbillies. It was a show
Oh,
that
I
was
see,
on
I see.
sometime before your time.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was super happy on one of these, the first one I did this on, because somebody was like, "It's Mama's Family," and somebody else was like, "Minnie Pearl," and I'm like, okay, I've just gotten the hugest compliments ever. This was the best. Anyway. And if it so be that they shall serve him according to the commandments which he hath given, it shall be a land of liberty unto them. Wherefore, they shall never be brought down into captivity. Land of liberty, that's always kind of the United States of America thing. That's why he put that in there, is just to remind everybody that Constitution was created by God, so Mormonism could come here.
This is why I fully expect almost like a surge of, right now we're delighted by the fact that Mormonism is starting to die off, but I am not holding my breath, because it would not surprise me remotely for QAnon level people to get a hold of the absolute fetish that Mormonism has for American patriotism and go, wait a second, did you come up with a way that Jesus came to this country? I like that a lot more, because there's less brown over here, and so we're gonna go with that. As a resurgence, as we're seeing political extremism on the right, potentially attracting people to, especially if they present it as a conspiracy. The government doesn't want you to know the evidence that Jesus stepped foot on this continent. I almost expect it.
Jimmy, Mormonism has so much fucking money. I mean, there's never going to disappear because of that.
There's that.
Yeah. And so, and the money itself too, as well as these kind of shitty white supremacy stuff, will attract these kind of shitty people you're talking about.
They can shift, because that's the thing, is if they looked like a weak shit church, would they stick around in the form of being a church? And I wouldn't be surprised if they went like, let's rebrand and start a lifestyle brand or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
So somehow or other, wholly unexpectedly, white supremacy came up as a topic. And just before we started recording, Shannon was telling me a story that was relevant to this. And I said that you should bring that up. I suspect there will be an opportunity when that becomes relevant.
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about Nazis, of course, because white supremacy, Nazis are going to come up somewhere, neo-Nazis and all that shit. What I brought up was a young man named Helmut Hubener, and I probably just totally slaughtered his German name. But he was a German youth during World War II. And at the age of 16, he, a Mormon German youth, no less, was excommunicated from the church because he was actively working in opposition to the Nazi regime. He was passing out pamphlets.
He was excommunicated from the Mormon church.
From the Mormon church. Not only that, but, his stuff hit the news well enough that the Nazis actually executed him as well at the age of 17. He was the youngest Nazi youth youngest German youth, I should say, to be executed for actively working against the Nazi regime. But yeah, the Mormon church excommunicated him. They reinstated his membership like in the 70s or something like that, or 80s, because a lot of people started writing about him. There's even a play written about him from a teacher at BYU, and he's been referenced in several different books. But he was somebody who said, look, this goes against everything we're taught about being Christian. Why am I being, punished for this? But then again, the Mormon church itself was very anti-Semitic then, and very much against accepting Jews into the country, about working Jews out of the areas where they were at risk, like in Germany and others. They were very much against all of that, and especially the church leadership. Who was it then? Was it Heber J. Grant, Bryce?
That was George Albert Smith during World
George
War
Albert
II,
Smith. Okay. And so that's one of those things. This is Mormonism, though. And I mean, we read this a lot this last chapter of First Nephi, or book of First Nephi, and especially with having Tomer on here the last couple episodes, being able to point out, yeah, this is shitty. This is super duper shitty. But, that is one of the things to remember with Mormonism is they fit rather well with the Nazis.
I didn't scare off Tomer, right? Someone told him I show affection by bullying.
The issue is that he's in Israel.
Oh.
Yes.
And what you did was request that we could make the show like 2-3 hours later.
Yeah.
And for him,
so yeah, you did scare him off, Jimmy.
In fairness, I also suggested earlier. In fairness.
But I was like,
people in
I
California
can't do
would have
early,
had to have gotten up in the morning.
No.
That's same here.
At 10 a.m. kind of morning. That's brunch time. That's when people start drinking mimosas on Sunday.
I don't even get up then.
That's an invitation to get day drunk. Well, it would have been 11 for you, right?
Something like that. But I'm like, I don't get up till noon.
It was all, once again, I'll just vaguely blame Dillahunty for the whole thing. By the way, one of the things that got lost, and this is what's even funnier, is I also didn't actually suggest this time slot. If you go back and look, I suggested an hour later. You went an hour earlier. I said either noon or 6 CST, and you offered noon or 6 EST to everybody. And so I actually wanted to go even later than this.
So yes, and all things considered, you scared Tomer off. That's all it is.
I show affection by light bullying.
I'm
What's
not
that?
even going to have that. We don't want it to give a false impression. Tomer, I enjoy his input.
We do. We all do.
More than I thought that I would.
Yeah.
He does his homework. He comes prepared, and he has a perspective that none of the rest of us would. So
Right.
I appreciate that. It's just that it's 2 a.m. for him,
Right.
and he is a full-time college student. So
Yeah.
I'm conflicted. He sort of classes up the show, and I guess I do resent that a little.
He's one I actually would love to sit down and just talk to him. I think he's really fascinating. But
There's
yeah, it's understandable why he can't do the show every time.
There's a question in the chat that his contribution to would have actually been great about Smith equating Michael with Metatron, which, by the way, actually doesn't come just from Mormonism. But someone had asked, didn't Smith equate Michael with Metatron? And kind of, but so did, I think, the Talmud, or at least like sort of Talmudic legends that came off of it, that Metatron may also be, besides being a transformer, is also Michael the Archangel.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling already remiss that Tomer's not here to help with that.
Yeah.
The
In
next
traditional
comment-
Mormonism, Bryce, isn't Metatron from back in the day? Don't they consider him basically God number 2, secondary God?
I don't know. This is honestly my first time coming into contact with this information. I am not familiar with it at all.
Okay. Some Enoch shit. We'll get there.
We stumped Bryce.
Yeah.
First and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jeremiah. No, wait. There's no Enoch.
You stumped Bryce with history.
The next comment is Frederick Agerbo says, and it came to pass that I, Frederick, nameth the goods of Mormonism. 1, the missionaries, also known as the Catholic schoolgirls' gay adult content. 2,
I cannot wrap my mind around that. Wait, hang on.
I'm having some. I get Catholic schoolgirls adult content because that's my porn history, but I don't understand.
It's Catholic schoolgirls watching. They're watching that gay content of the missionaries. Yeah.
This is 2022, RN. Do the right thing. It's pseudo incestuous step family porn or nothing.
Okay. And then we have Skedge, who just chimed in, says, on the subject of religion, I watched your talk with a Muslim apologetic, where he kept saying it was hearsay. So what keeps y'all from saying religion is hearsay when it clearly is? Yeah, go figure that.
Yeah.
You know, we have direct eyewitness accounts. You know, when I went to this, I went to the satanic ritual in Tyler, Texas yesterday, and I heard from at least a dozen Christians who all told me there were 500 witnesses, and I had to point out to all of them, no, there was a claim that there was 500 witnesses. It was one person anonymously claiming there were 500 witnesses. We don't have testimony from 500 witnesses. We have one person saying there were 500 people there who would back him up. And you're just going to believe that empty claim, which was written in the wrong language decades after the fact by somebody who clearly wasn't there.
Right. That's Mormonism as well. Yep.
It just reminds me of being like a teenager in gym class and hearing somebody brag about the number of people who talk about how great his dick is, but not, you don't ever meet any of these people. I was like, oh, let me tell you about these people. Dozens.
Yeah.
Okay then. Continue, please.
All right. And if it's, verse 7, by the way, and if it so be that they shall serve him according to the commandments which he hath given, it shall be a land of liberty unto them. I already read that. Wherefore they shall never be brought down into captivity. If so, it shall be because of iniquity. So it's their fault if they're made slaves, in other words. For if iniquity shall abound, cursed shall be the land for their sakes. And there my Mormonism came through because everything is cursed. They like to pronounce that extra ED at the end. Cursed shall be the land for their sakes, but unto the righteous it shall be blessed forever.
There is a lot of ED in Mormonism.
There's a ton of it. Yes.
Because that's a medical term for erectile dysfunction. Get on my level and understand my jokes. God damn it.
I mean, look at Nelson. Okay. And behold.
I can't. Looking at Nelson will give me ED. Are you kidding me? I was just talking about this with a caller on the show I was on before this. Has anyone else noticed, like, it is easier? I wish we could study the effects of Monson was lovable, right?
Yes,
as far as Hinckley was lovable, if not strangely prepubescent, even in his 90s. Well, behold, I say unto thee, sounded like Emo Phillips. Howard W. Hunter was sort of authoritative, but seemed trustworthy.
Well, he's only there for 8 months, so it didn't matter.
True. But people liked him from before that too. Benson had a sort of like Russell M. Nelson looks like he would steal your chemo drugs.
In fact, there is somebody posted this. They were like, "I'm so happy they finally played the right music for this." It was the end of General Conference when they showed the video of Russell M. Nelson walking down the line of all the apostles.
Was it the
and shaking
Imperial
hands,
March?
and they did the Imperial March in Star Wars. And I'm like, all he needs is the hood. He looks like the fucking Emperor. Holy shit.
Well, and what I was thinking was like, right now, there's going to be an increase of deconversion because he is easy to turn your back on. And I was lamenting with the collar, like, unfortunately, when he's replaced, that might slow down. And then I was reminded that Oaks is next.
Oaks is next. And Oaks scares the shit out of me.
And everybody else, like, so we got some time.
Oh my God.
It's interesting. Like the next 4 or 5 in line right now are just supremely and chronically unlikable men.
Yes.
You know, where's Eyring in that? Because I think Eyring is sort of unlikable in personality, but people get over it.
Yeah. Eyring is he's useless though. He's really he's not
You
worth
guys have got to
much.
tell the audience.
He's
who you're
89. We're talking about the president of the church and then their apostles. So current day,
Yeah.
Russell M. Nelson, who, by the way, prefers that you call him Russie Nelly. And
we
so
call him
please,
Rusty Nails.
Is that his rap name?
yeah, good old Russie Nelly. It's you don't want to listen to his rap. It's basically just the
bad.
N-word on repeat.
Yeah. It's
all
like that
right.
stupid woman that did her rap for her running for office.
Oh my God, yeah. Russie Nelly it looks part human, part vulture, I would say. And right now, just imagine a 90-year-old man who looks vulture-esque, and you, in your mind, probably have an 85% accurate picture.
Or Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
There you go. Excellent. He considers himself, it's like one of those people who, like, they're so smart they have to keep telling you. He almost himself says, I'm the new Moses. Like, he thinks of himself as a Moses level prophet, just constantly getting inspiration. He's the person behind the, like, Mormonism is a slur basically now. He wants to switch not to electric cars. I think he just wants to switch to hand carts again. He is a traditionalist in the worst way. And he sucks. And no one in the church really likes him, but they pretend they do because they have to. And the next guy after him probably no longer controls his own bowels. And I don't mean that in an ableist way. I just mean that in the shit's coming out of both ends now.
Yeah, because what people need to understand is with the quorum of the 12 apostles in the Mormon church, that determines the order of who's going to be the next prophet. It's not voted on with a conclave like with the Pope. It's already decided by the time they hit apostle stage. So it's in order of when they were put in to be made an apostle. So you get ones like, say, Harold B. Lee and Spencer W. Kimball, who were both ordained the same day. They were like 15 minutes apart when they were made apostles. And then there's others that were there years apart. And so right now, Russell M. Nelson is the top. And when he dies, the next one will be Dallin Oaks. And after that, it's Russell Ballard and then Jeffrey Holland. See, and the ones to be really frightened of are these ones who also, by the way, happen to have been presidents of different BYUs. And that's like Dallin Oaks, Jeffrey Holland, and David Bednar.
Oh, I remember Dallin Oaks. They were that really lame soft rock band in the 80s.
Dallin Oaks. That's hilarious.
The one everybody loves is Dieter F. Uchtdorf, who comes out of Germany and he was a pilot. But, the man donated.
And a liar, but that's fine.
He donated to the Democratic Convention last election. And that kind of pissed off a lot of people in leadership. And that's why he got kicked out of the first presidency, but he's still an apostle.
My favorite Uchtdorf moment forever will just be the people who were saying, so he's doing the procedural thing you do at conference for no reason, where everybody raises their hand to affirm that they affirm the prophet is the prophet and the apostles, and a group of ex-Mormons basically went so that basically say any opposed, and everybody raises their hand. who would oppose, and usually no one does. So you had these dozen or so people stand up and actually yell out opposed, and he responds with, "The note has been noted," which is just, I don't know, what is that sentence? The note has been noted. Like I think you just meant noted there, buddy. Also, I have talked to, so everyone loves Uchtdorf. I have heard the story now at least 4 or 5 times from ex-Mormon women that they don't know why, but they were sexually attracted to Bednar. And that's a weird thing to me.
He looks like one of those guys out of that the wooden puppet marionette movie, the like American
Team
whatever.
America?
Team America.
Yeah.
He looks like that.
I think he looks like a stern PE teacher.
He scares the hell out of me.
Okay, we're way off topic now.
I know, but
Finnegan.
Mormons
it
will
is worth
appreciate
noting,
this.
anyone who is ex-Mormon watching this is like, yep.
This is the best episode to ex-Mormons ever.
Yeah.
Everybody else hates it.
They're all like, everybody else is like, I am totally lost. Everything just flew a mile over my head.
But tell me you can't imagine Bednar in gym short, like PE gym shorts, a white polo, and a whistle. Tell me that that's not easy to imagine to you.
I can imagine that, and I can also imagine a woman with long blonde hair in pink running outfit, pulling a gun on him and shooting him. So
we're talking about imagine, not your fantasies.
Okay, yeah, enough of that.
The same thing, isn't it? All right, and behold.
Comments.
Fine.
Finnegan says Mormonism sounds like an attempt to unify white supremacy with Christian supremacy, along with the conflation of black and white skin with black and white morals.
I just don't know that there's any evidence for that.
No.
Just kidding. It's exactly what it is.
I do want to. I want to like use that comment to circle back something Jimmy said earlier, right? Like the merriment, the possible merriment of like the conspiracy in QAnon with Mormonism. Like the leadership of the church is like arch conservative. They are about as conservative as a public institution, a public facing institution can be without being like truly problematic. But it's like the step to go from where the institution is right now to QAnon conspiracy it's barely a shuffle. But for them to go to the other direction where it's like a progressive happy clappy institution of like, oh yeah, man, like Jesus was just like a cool guy. He was just a disestablishmentarianism, you know, brother. The step to get the church to that progressive Christian idea is it's a chasm that will never be crossed.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so then the next comment from Scott Reuter says, I have never heard an ideology address an issue of too many people existing on the planet. Is there a reason for that? Very controversial, but possibly could address an important matter.
You could be.
Every religion says that we should, be fruitful and multiply to dominate and subdue, and there's never been a limit applied on that.
There's sort of mixed feelings. I have sort of mixed feelings on it. I'm definitely not one of the fucking conspiracy theorists like Elon Musk on it all, who thinks we're facing population collapse and we'll die because we're not reproducing enough. But whenever we talk about overpopulation, we're not talking about that we're running out of room, and we're not even running out of resources. We just don't distribute the resources. Right. So we make enough food and we produce enough food to feed everybody. We just don't give it to about a third of the earth, and we just throw it away in the trash instead. And it's sort of the same thing with like climate change. Certainly the human population is rapidly affecting, but we could actually be, I think it's LA County, the entire world's population could physically fit in LA County. Now you'd be shoulder to shoulder. The world has plenty of size. We just are selfish dicks.
Yeah. The other thing you're running into with all of this is, especially with a lot of people, is there's Mormons that believe, and I'm sure other Christians believe, that God will just destroy the ones that are problematic, the really wicked ones. Because there's this history of God being a dick like that all the time anyway. And so
name 5 times. I'm just kidding.
Right? Noah in the flood, Abraham with his son, Lot is Lot's wife, Job Well, God, Job.
I'm going to attempt to open to the Bible to a page where he wasn't a dick.
I
Can't
was
be done.
arguing with somebody yesterday. We were at this public square, and there's like hundreds of Christians protesting the fact that there were Satanists there, and they said there's no contradictions in the Bible. All the prophecies have been fulfilled. I'm like, oh yeah, show me one that Ezekiel didn't fuck up.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't.
I'll wait.
Yeah. It's like, can you bring me lunch
I asked
while I'm waiting?
who owned the land where Judas Iscariot died,
Right.
and how did he die? And they said that the Pharisees and Judas both bought the land, and Judas died both of those ways. He fell headlong, even though his head was tied to a tree when he hung himself. And he bought it with the money the Pharisees gave it, but after he gave it back to them, they bought the same land, so there's no contradiction. And so the Bible has no contradictions as long as you remember that there are no contradictions.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, upon Halloween weekend, you have unintentionally brought out the coolest prop ever. While green screened, you have a green parrot on your shoulder looking like a ghost. First, let me ask, did you know there's a parrot on your shoulder? Because maybe it is a ghost. Fucking awesome.
He wouldn't shut up. The only way to get him to be quiet was to bring him on camera.
I legitimately, Shannon, before the show, asked if it was your mother.
No, I didn't. I said, "Is that your parrot?"
Oh, I thought you said mother. I swear. Parent.
Not.
I thought you said parent, not parrot.
No, I
Nick
said
Raskin
parrot.
just commented that my undead parrot is an ex-parrot.
I was sitting here this entire time hearing Aaron, and I'm just like, man, that's so like noble that Aaron is clearly supporting his mother with dementia. That's so kind of him. I'm thinking this whole time, and then the bird comes out, and I realized, nope.
We're all about distractions here. All right.
Yeah, somebody just told me that somebody's in the comments says that I need an eye patch and a bandana. I have both and a pirate hat just over there.
Hell yeah.
So I can do all of that. I'm just not gonna.
Okay, tomorrow's Halloween. Do it tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe enough
I answered
super
the door.
chats.
There was a time when I was
it.
trying to deal with my lazy eye, so that's why I made the eye patch. And I ride motorcycles, so I happen to wear. I usually wore a bandana. I'm kind of a metalhead, so I had this leather vest on. And I answer the door for trick or treaters and these kids, and I have my parrot on my shoulder, and all these kids are saying, "Wow, that's a great pirate costume." And I wasn't wearing a costume every day.
I feel like your average day's getup is a sort of like post-apocalyptic, awesome, by the way, like Matrix pirate. That's just your sort of go-to, and I'm here for it.
They have
I'm here
pirates?
for it.
Okay.
You know how when some people say, "I wish I was brave enough to wear what you wear," and it's an insult? I mean it as a compliment, because I am not. I as I revealed on the last show, my outfits, I have cards that are guides on how to put them together. I don't know how to do this.
Oh my God.
Enough about
Okay.
that. Let's follow Bryce.
I apologize.
Bryce's advice and actually read the Book of Mormon.
What verse are we on?
8. And behold, it is wisdom that this land should be kept as yet from the knowledge of other nations, because it's secret, not sacred. For behold, many nations would overrun the land, that there would be no place for an inheritance. Yeah, so if your people are really, the ancestors to Native Americans, they did come and slaughter your people, Lehi. Okay. Wherefore I, Lehi, have obtained a promise that inasmuch as those whom the Lord God shall bring out of the land of Jerusalem shall keep his commandments, they shall prosper upon the face of this land, and they shall be kept from all other nations. So see, once again, the reason why Native Americans were killed, because they were wicked. And they may possess this land unto themselves. And if it so be that they shall keep his commandments, they shall be blessed upon the face of this land. And there shall be none to molest them, nor to take away the land of their inheritance. And they shall dwell safely forever.
There you go. That's the Book of Mormon prophecy, that there will never be war on American soil because the Book of Mormon says so.
Yeah,
Boy, the bishops really undermined the none to molest them verse.
they sure do. That's
Somebody in
even
the comments asked how much would it take to get me in a full pirate costume. I have a full pirate costume hanging in my closet, as you do. I'm sure we all do, don't we? But if somebody donates $100, I will begin our next week's show with that. Well, next week, the 1 week from today, I won't be here because I will be at what Tomer described as a Snake Appreciation Day.
By the way, you got to put a timer on it. This is how you got it going. If in the next 10 minutes a total of $100 come in, that's how you run this shit, man. That's how it works.
Then I will
That's it.
begin the next Bible lesson in full pirate garb.
there you go. And everybody
right.
will be like, "What the fuck?" Okay.
I think if you then just take
Complete with
away the
Ghost
eye
Parrot
patch, you're
straight
technically
from Pirates
dressed
of the
as like.
Caribbean.
I was saying, if you take away the eye patch, I think you're already dressed as Parley P. Pratt. They're not far off.
Whew. Okay. But behold, when the time cometh that they shall dwindle in unbelief, after they have received so great blessings from the hand of the Lord, having a knowledge of the creation of the earth and all men, and knowing the great and marvelous works of the Lord from the creation of the world, having power given them to do all things by faith, having all the commandments, because he hasn't said all this before, so he's got to remind you. All the commandments from the beginning, having been brought by his infinite goodness into this precious land of promise, behold, I say, if the day shall come that they will reject the Holy One of Israel, the true Messiah, their Redeemer and their God, behold, I feel like I should pound on my desk with this. All right. Redeemer and their God, behold, the judgments of him that is just shall rest upon them. Was Joseph a pulpit pounder, Bryce?
I kind of doubt it.
I'm pretty
no,
sure
he
Brigham
wasn't one.
was.
Brigham was. Sidney Rigdon was. He was not an actual fisted.
I just feel like I should be pounding the pulpit a few times.
I feel like he was more Charles Manson than Greg Locke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brigham was Jim Jones. Okay.
What's the difference, really?
Yeah.
I just, as far as style goes, by the way, if everyone doesn't know this, excellent news. Greg Locke has been removed from YouTube this week.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Really?
good stuff.
He's banned.
More excellent YouTube news. I think somebody just
Donate 100, but
anteed up on that.
That's right.
Yeah, you're
No
locked in
Valgate.
now.
It's going to be R&R next time around.
That is correct.
Practice your
Aye,
pirate
and
talk.
it will be done.
So let it be
Hold
written,
spare
so let it be
now.
done.
That won't be next Saturday, though, because you'll be in Fort Worth, right?
No, it won't be next Sunday. I won't be
Oh.
doing the Book of Mormon because I'll be, probably buying more snakes because I only have 14 of them at the moment. But next Saturday for the Bible lesson, I will
we
be in
have the
pirate garb.
cat ladies and we have the snake man. Got it.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody just happens to have one, I'm looking for a Texas Indigo.
Dope.
Alrighty.
I wouldn't mind a Cleveland steamer. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I just want
sorry.
another dragon. That's all.
I'm sorry. Only for those who know what a Cleveland
Ow.
steamer is, I apologize.
That hurt.
I mean, we couldn't go an entire broadcast without at least one poop joke, right?
Right.
It's not my first today, at least. On air.
No.
What verse we on?
11. Yeah, I will bring other nations unto them, and he will give unto them power. Got to pound that pulpit there. And he will take away from them the lands of their possessions, and he will cause them to be scattered and smitten.
There you go.
And this is,
You Jews deserved it. That's what
Jews
what
deserve
Mormons believe, because it says it in the book. You Jews deserved it.
Yep, and that God's going to let you take away anybody's lands that you want because you're righteous and they're not.
So why are they pro-Israel?
They are pro-gathering of Israel when they determine it's
It's
happening.
time.
Not because of what's going on now, but when they go and convert Jews into the church and then decide which tribe they belong to because they get to decide that. That's the gathering, and then go live in Israel. And that's the one. Yeah. Don't be
There's a-
confused with the gathering that's already happening.
There's a much deeper point there that we shouldn't also miss, because Mormonism believes that Zion, the New Jerusalem, will be built upon the American continent, and that will basically bring forth the second coming, and the rapture and all of the goodies that we love from Christian
Right.
eschatology. But there's like the two kingdoms from which God will reign over the earth. The one is Zion, the New Jerusalem, built in fucking Independence, Missouri, because why the hell not? And the other one will be actual Jerusalem, the real,
Right.
like the OG Jerusalem. So it's within the Mormon beliefs that if they are allowed to essentially construct a temple on Mount Zion, where the original temple, Solomon's temple, was, yes,
Right.
that will
There we
bring
go.
forth the second coming, or it will
Just
at least
take the
hasten
bet.
the Lord's hand.
Why can't we just take the all right, go build the temple. But if he
Right.
doesn't show up,
Right.
you have to admit you're full of shit and give
Yeah.
me a piece of that rainy day fund.
See, well,
man.
they have to still recognize the Jerusalem there because of all of the fucking prophecies about, the Battle of Armageddon, and that Christ will come down and slam his foot down on Mount Olivet, and that's going to shake everything, and the earth will reel to and fro and all that shit. And so that's the other thing, is you've got these prophecies going on that Mormons recognize as this is going to happen, in the last days when Christ shows up. So
Do y'all think in 1,000 years there will be a Lord of the Rings religion where they're like, this actually is
Dude,
the
there
real
already
history?
is.
No, but they know it's fiction. Do you
Okay,
think
that's
do you think they'll pull a Scientology level thing where it's like, hey, yeah, so there's a lot, man, we have too many digital records now. I feel like if it wasn't for the internet, that full on could happen. And by the way better religion, because at least the literature would be interesting.
It's better written. He knows how
It
to
is
follow
better
a
written, yeah.
storyline all the way through too. He doesn't just drop things because he forgot that about it. Yeah.
Can you imagine instead of saying amen to end the meeting, you just said, fly, you fools?
Right.
That'd be the best.
Instead of "and it came to pass," it's "you shall not pass."
That's
There
right.
we go.
You
And
shall not.
yesterday during the Bible lesson, Lilith said that when she was studying the Bible, she dug too greedily and too deep.
Unfortunately, it would also attract fascists as people tried to acquire the title The White.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, they'd have to die first.
Good.
I got to tell everybody the one problem with the pirate outfit is that my parrot is terrified of the tricorn hat.
Oh yeah,
I'm serious.
we can see that.
Where he
He's
is.
like,
really too
get
bad.
that shit out of here. I don't want it.
Nah, fuck that noise.
You
All right.
got to be like Radagast and have the parrot just sitting on the tricorn. But of course, that's mixing our mythologies. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. All right, here we go. 12. Yeah, as one generation passeth to another, there shall be bloodsheds and great visitations upon them, or among them, sorry, which means, appearances of ghosts and, resurrected beings and all that shit. Wherefore, my sons, I would that ye would remember. Yeah, I would that ye would hearken unto my words. So sit down, shut up, and listen. Oh, that ye would awake from a deep sleep. Yeah, even from the sleep of hell, and shake off. He's speaking Laman Lemuel here, by the way, and the sons of Ishmael and whoever else is following them because they're tired of all of the shit that Lehi and Nephi are thrown off on them. Anyway, and shake off the awful chains by which ye are bound, which are the chains which bind the children of men, that they are carried away captive down to the eternal gulf of misery and woe.
Can anyone do a
Awake.
good Emperor Palpatine for the next sentence?
No, but I could do like a
Awake.
one
Which
word
verse
of
is it?
Sauron.
And arise. Verse 14.
Okay.
Lord Vader.
And arise from the
There we
night,
go.
and hear the words of a trembling parrot.
Do it.
Whose limbs ye must soon lay down in a cold and silent grave.
Okay, it's going
From whence
pirate
no
toward the end.
traveler can return. A few more days, and I will go the way of all the earth.
Say Sith instead of Earth. Oh, it's too late.
Yeah.
I am
the
all
Earth.
the Sith.
Of the Sith.
Just trying to
If
make
you're
this
gonna
book
do that-
interesting.
If you're gonna do Emperor Palpatine, just do Rusty Nelson. Just
It's
do
not that far off.
It's
Yeah.
really not. He's got the right look.
All right,
just
I'm going to
needs
read another
lightning
chat.
bolts.
Susan Laredo says, "What's the difference between supernatural and spiritual?"
Whoever's saying it.
Yeah,
Other
whichever
than that, it doesn't
MLM
mean
you're
anything.
whichever
Yeah.
MLM you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the pagany New Age thing includes a lot of pantheists, so
Yeah.
it's just for them. It's spiritual is just a matter of appreciating nature. Otherwise, the supernatural, to me, as I understand it, supernatural equals magical. So that I mean, if you look up the definition of miracle and
Right.
magic, they're the same thing. The evocation of supernatural forces or entities to control or forecast natural events in ways that are inexplicable by science because they defy the laws of physics, meaning that they are physically impossible. And so anything supernatural is magical. They're the same adjective. But spiritual is again supernatural. So if you're again magical, depending on the context that it's being used.
Exactly. And I like that's one thing is like spiritual, I think is like a useful term because like in the church we have what's called a burning in your bosom. That's like when you're feeling the spirit, when you're getting a confirmation of the truth of whatever, that the church is true, the Book of Mormon is true, whatever the case is. So like the term spiritual takes on like a really loaded term, but like I still get that burning in my bosom feeling that is like associated with spirituality when I'm engaging in processes that are either familiar to me or something that I really really enjoy. But like when I listen to Flesh God Apocalypse, I can have a spiritual experience because the lyrics are so good, the music is so good, but I don't have a supernatural experience. At least
Almost as a
if there is a metal
colloquialism.
Band that does that, then I haven't found them yet.
Almost as a colloquialism, and part of it's that we don't raise kids to and even young adults with good vocabulary to describe what they think is spiritual, what they mistake for spiritual.
Right.
And so I feel like a lot of people have tried to for a lot of people it's literally as like you think you need some supernatural ghost shit just to identify with words and emotion you're having. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like just we need to equip people with better language and stop letting their personal gaps of ignorance be filled in with
I kind of get it
isms.
though. I mean, because there have been a couple of moments. I mean, like I said once upon a time that the only time I ever felt like I had a soul is when I'm listening to really good blues guitar.
Yeah, doing drugs will do it too.
Yeah.
Well, actually, doing drugs is a lot more accurate than you think. Or maybe
No, I'm dead serious. Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
a lot of religions that are based on, various inebriants of the
Yeah.
natural
I
world.
challenge any
Including
Mormon.
Mormonism.
I challenge any Mormon to do ecstasy and have tantric sex and tell me that felt less spiritual than any burning in the bosom they ever had, period.
Yeah.
I've
Very
taken the
well.
challenge.
Bryce has written papers about this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, about psychedelics in the early church. Yeah, I mean
Yep.
it's not a foreign concept.
No, it's not.
I believe that. Okay,
I
so
just-
then L. Michael 65 says, "Are any of Aaron's snakes deadly or at least painful?" Not yet.
Yet.
I mean, done right, all snakes are deadly. All of them.
Well,
Done
to
right.
people, limited. So there was somebody handed me a reticulated python, a baby reticulated python, and they said she's only $150, and it was so very tempting. But I had to realize that in like 20 years, I would be 80 years old, and this thing will be 20 feet long
Yeah.
and capable of eating me.
Yeah.
So there's
Mm.
that, and as I mentioned earlier in the show, I am looking for a Texas indigo, and the indigo snakes. Seriously, the whole genus Drymarchon, they're different than all other snakes, and that's what I find fascinating about them. They don't have the super detachable jaw, so they can swallow things bigger than they had. Their jaw is less flexible. Their method of killing is to overpower their prey, so they eat smaller things, more of them. And they just have a super powerful bite that most snakes don't have.
Yeah.
And so as far as being deadly or at least painful, I intend to get one that is deadly and one that is painful.
Aaron, if it makes you feel any better, 20 years from now, you'll be dead. And not from old age, but because we're like 3 years from the Confederacy riding again.
It's the last
point.
days. The Mormonism likes to say that. You never
Yeah.
know when Armageddon's happening.
Yeah. And
So
then the
they'll do whatever they
the
can to
next
make that
comment
happen.
is from Masked Saiyan. Says, what would you guys say is the worst aspect of Mormonism?
Ooh, can I take that? Can I take?
Oh, yeah.
Can I respond?
Well,
Yeah.
we'll all have our own, right?
Dovetailing off of the very last thing that was said, I had a conversation with my sister, who's long out of the church, doesn't give a shit about it at all. And she was wondering why I watched General Conference, and my response was because I want to know what they're programming into Mormons. Because say that this happy clappy society that we have completely and utterly collapses from any resemblance of what it currently is. There's a whole lot. There's not many things in the world that are more powerful than having 1.5 to 2 million people in a geographically isolated basin surrounded by deserts with basements full of food storage for years and with gun safes full of guns and ammo. Right? Like, very few things are more dangerous than that. And when they all follow the supreme directional control of one leader, one prophet leader, then that just amplifies how dangerous those people are. So I think the most dangerous thing about Mormonism is not necessarily any specific belief or teaching or dogma or anything like that. It is the currently unharnessed potential energy that exists within the Mormon culture. That is fucking terrifying to me.
I almost wouldn't be as afraid if they tried to mobilize that today. I'm more afraid of when they finally give up trying to appear remotely progressive and go, okay, we're an extremist church, so give us the extremists, and you have this shift of membership. Because right now, like they lost members. I wish we could say that their huge dip in membership in the last 2 years is just skepticism, but a decent enough portion was just the church coming out as pro-COVID vaccine. Like, that's this type of shit they're losing over right now. So once they go,
and I want to say that, like, your point is one of the steps along the path that I just described, right? Like and that's one reason why Mormonism is so appealing to those people, is because it teaches so much of the things that that preppers and extreme right wingers and people who are of that mindset readily grasp, readily appreciate, and want. And it all follows an extreme authoritarian model that the prophet controls every action of the people. So, when society degrades from what we currently have, Mormonism stands to be the most powerful monolith in America.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the next comment, Lopency, for $10, thank you, says, after Book of Mormon, maybe Scientology. I don't intend to read Scientology, although I could change my mind. That could be funny as all fuck. I don't know. It might be a good idea to read Scientology, just because I know those people can get really dickish.
Yes.
When you offend their fables.
Yeah.
I kind of want. Well, there's a couple of things I wanted. Well, first, can I ask Shannon what her? I kind of wanted to go around and see what everybody thought was the worst aspect of Mormonism.
Yeah. I actually made a list of 5 at one point, but even that's not even comprehensive at all, because you have things like the Mormon leadership is above the law, which is typical in more than just Mormonism, the anti-intellectualism of it, and this control of information. And so, the leadership sets itself up as a dictator. What it comes down to is, their rule is law. You only read what they tell you to read, all that kind of shit. But another thing with it is also the treatment that women go through in it. And I don't think there is a religion in the world that treats men and women equally. And if there is, there's like 2. But with Mormonism, the difference is like the size of a canyon. And so having to be treated the way women get treated in this church is just abysmal. And it's a real problematic aspect of it. But also, there's things that the one of the real key things for me is the emotional manipulation that they use, and how, yes, they hark on stuff like hope and your fears, the deepest fears you have, things like parents who lose a child who dies before the age of 8, the kind of emotional control they use on you to keep you not only in the church but doing every single fucking thing they tell you to do because of that child being lost and everything else that they promise will happen in the millennium. That is something that is very personal to me because my first child only lived for 2 weeks. But, these kind of things, there's so many problematic aspects to it, but that come down to you have no right to them. They will they tell you what rights you have. They tell you what you get to say, what you get to think, what you get to do, what you get to wear, the things, what kind of jewelry a woman wears, how she fixes her hair, all of these kind of things comes from them. That whole, I will control every aspect of your life. And it doesn't matter what I do, because if I do something wrong, God will remove me from my place, kind of thing. And so that to me is the most problematic aspect.
That's a better answer. I was just going to say the dancing.
Yeah. Is there any though?
That's the problem. It's the dancing's pretty. Have you seen a more musically proficient group of people with zero sense of rhythm anywhere?
They do you have
my grandparents used to watch Lawrence Welk.
Yes.
I was in torture when I would be stuck as a kid, I would be stuck at my grandparents' house every summer, and I'd have to watch Lawrence Welk with them because we live in a tiny little town out in the middle of the desert. I can't even leave. I just have to sit in the room because outside is nothing but rattlesnakes. So what do you do? And so I would watch the women with the floor length dresses, and everybody's so nice and so clean and so white bread, and that's probably why I glommed on a metal as much as I did. When I discovered Ozzy Osbourne, I was in heaven.
Oh my God. My dad, the first album I ever bought was Loverboy, and I had to hide it from my dad because I forgot the name of the title of it, but it's the one where you see the guy's backside, his ass in the really tight red leather pants. And that would have just freaked out my parents so bad. Just that alone, just the cover. Forget the music. I did. I had to hide it. It was a cassette tape and I kept it hidden.
All right.
Yes.
So,
anyway.
Morgan, the next comment, if I may move on to those, the next comment is, come on, Aaron, just go ahead and go full ahead and get a Komodo dragon. Been there, done that.
You had a Komodo?
Well, no, I had a Malaysian water monitor.
Quite different.
Those get 7 feet long and 70 pounds. They are also man-eaters, just like the Komodo. Mm-hmm. And I don't recommend them as pets. The potential for mayhem is through the roof. These are not things that you need to be experienced when you have something like this. And they need to have their own fucking room because these are big.
They need their own fucking house.
The minimum size is 7 feet. They can get as long as 9 feet and 140 pounds. They will eat people.
Yeah.
And I know of one case in Arizona where some did eat their owner. They actually killed him.
Actual Komodos. Actual Komodos. I'm not, forget giving them their own room. I'm fine with just sending them to their own planet. Those things are fuckers.
There's something about the Malaysian water monitor I absolutely love. It's like these people wanted to get rid of it because they said it would thrash around and it would get violent. They had it in this cage, and anytime anybody walked into the living room, the thing would go berserk, right? So they had it under a blanket, and when I raised the blanket, I got to experience what absolute evil looked like. And I fell in love with it. It was so enticing. I'd never seen anything so, I don't know, it was seductive, but it is evil.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the next comment. The police shot mine, by the way. It got a hold of the back door and it bent the back door open. And escaped into the neighborhood, and the police shot it with a 410 shotgun.
What color was it?
What's that?
What color was it?
Black with yellow.
That adds up.
yellow splotches on it.
Sorry, that's the
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
could have just said
God,
black.
Jimmy.
I get the joke. Sorry.
ACAB. Fuck the police. Sorry.
Okay, so the next comment. All right, so Paul Sikorsky says, "What do you guys think is the best thing to do if Mormon missionaries come to your home?" I invite them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few of them, and I had a half a dozen of them come into my house at one time, and they've never been back.
Yeah.
As soon as if I verify, I would do that as long as I was confident they don't already know who I am.
Yeah.
So then I think they're there to take inventory or some shit.
The hard
Yeah.
part is I served a mission. I went on a mission. I feel sorry for missionaries themselves because they're pre-programmed on what they can say, what they don't say. You try to bring up stuff that they don't know, stuff in their own history that they don't know, and they feel like you're trying to argue with them, you're trying to bash with them, and they have to get away because they feel the spirit leave because they're uncomfortable. And so, but I don't blame them for what's going on. And so I'm actually rather nice to them when they do show up. I just say, I'm really not interested. And I let it go. There are some that will push because they're told, you got to take at least 3 no's before you let them close the door. Because if you pester them enough, they might actually say yes and let you in. It's that whole door-to-door salesman shit.
The last time any religious canvassers showed up at my door, my mother happened to be here. As she's walking out the door, she opens the doors. The doorbell rings. As she opens the door, she's on her way out, and it's these religious canvassers. We want to tell you about God's message for you in Jesus. And my mother looked at them and said, "Boy, did you come to the wrong house."
Yeah. So yeah, I've actually said, I know you're told to keep asking and make people say no to you 3 times, so I'll just say it outright. No, no, and no. You can go now.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like mostly I'm just polite because I don't blame them. I blame the people at the top who convinced them they had to go.
I still remember what the 18-year-old Mormon male arrogance feels like, the way in which you feel like you can speak down as an elder to people much smarter and wiser than you are. And so I understand that they have potential to become better people, but I have contempt from the power they're feeling from their balls and will therefore engage thusly.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I think it also kind of depends on what you're wanting to get out of the interaction too, and if you have time for it. The nicest, awesomest, best thing you could do for missionaries in most cases is going to be to invite them in and give them some lemonade. Because if they're out tracting, that means they have no appointments. They are bored out of their fucking minds. And their mission president is getting on their case about getting more Books of Mormon out, getting more, follow-up appointments. So they are doing like the last thing on their list that they can do because there's nothing else for them to do. They're bored out of their minds. Invite them in and chat with them. And if you want to be upfront and say,
time.
Hey, look, and that's something that they can report to their mission president at the end of the day, because missionaries have to report their mission
they
president.
Report every fucking thing, everything.
Yep. So that shows up in their little journal that they visited with an investigator for 2 hours. And they want nothing more than to feel useful, because that's how they feel close to Christ-like. So have them fucking rake the leaves. Have them help you move some furniture or whatever.
Because they count that as service as well. Yeah.
They want to do that so bad. So if you give them what they want, then they're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Or if you're RN, cue the Bible bash, and they're 19 years old and they have no fucking idea because they never read the Bible. They have no idea about their own history. They have no idea about the deeper aspects of Mormon mythology. In theology, they don't know anything about the world, and they're given an impossible task of going out there and gathering Israel. So like you can argue with them the same way you would argue with a small toddler, you'll get a very similar response.
I gotta
Yeah.
say that, I mean, I work from home. I'm here all day, right? Every day. This is where I do all my stuff, is in my
Yeah.
house. And so it's not like I miss the canvassers. If they were showing up, I'd know.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a religious canvasser from any denomination to my house in at least 8 years.
There won't be
This
in my
country's
neighborhood.
going to hell, then, isn't it?
There won't be in
Well,
my neighborhood either. There's too many Muslims, and Mormons avoid those areas.
The other thing you're running into is they keep records of everything. And I mean, there was areas on my mission where the records went back 10, 15 years. And so it'll be for each house on there. And so it's very likely, at least with the Mormons in your area, Aaron, is they've got it listed on there. Do not go here because of whatever reason. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, literally a neighbor might have recognized you and is Mormon. And by that I just mean in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Right now, I'm listed as a do not contact on the church records. So I fully expect that one of these days, the missionaries will come and tracked out, which that's what they call the door-to-door knocking stuff. Mormons like to change the words of everything. And so, but they will come and knock on my door and be like, oh, we didn't know, blah, you know, whatever shit. Because that's what they're told to do. And so, yeah.
I got another microphone right here. I'm ready. They can decide between the two of them. They can sit down. We'll zoom out. I'm ready. Come on over, missionaries.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you're not a terrible long way from me. If you ever have a lapse in your schedule and would like to have me in studio,
Fuck yeah.
I might be able to do that depending on what's going on.
Lapse in schedule. I'll deliberately schedule that shit, my friend. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Let me move on to the next comment. This is Masked Sayin. Says, what is your guys' reaction to the Southern Baptist Church sex scandal? Also, thanks for asking my previous question. Okay, now hold on. Let me review that again. What is your reaction to the Southern Baptist Church sex scandal?
You mean today's
one?
or
Here's-
yesterday's?
Here's my surprised face.
Yeah.
Give
It's
that
like,
to me again.
I'm like, sex scandal in church. It's like, just fill in the blank what church it's going to be. That's what we have these days.
The
Mormons have
Thursday
it,
one
Catholics
or
have
the
it. So,
Tuesday one?
yeah, everybody's got them. And so it's like the thing that would surprise any of us, I think, is to find a church that doesn't have a sex scandal at all.
And I do
That would
want
be
to once
surprising.
again reiterate, I make this public statement as much as now we're talking about New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, but I have no idea whether or not Tommy McMurtry is sexually attracted to pumpkins. A lot of people ask, and so I just want to state that out there again. Go to TommyMcMurtry.com if you would like some more information, and I'll just leave it there.
Oh my God, is that still going on?
Oh yeah, open it. Open it. Go to TommyMcMurtry.com. Aaron Raw, go to TommyMcMurtry.com right now.
I remember that from a couple of years ago. Okay, yeah.
I just
Oh
want
my
to
God.
hear him react, having virtually no idea what it is. There was an individual out there who was shitting on me and basically said he wasn't going to name me. He was going to call me Mr. Pumpkin because he didn't want to give me exposure. So I bought the URL that is his name. And just go to TommyMcMurtry.com and start scrolling.
Yes.
Okay. So Jazza Tiff comments, do you think there are ways to work around Christian nationalism and anti-intellectualism, as in try to get rid of it without violence?
Is there a way-
Question? Shit, right?
Yes. The answer is it's happened before without violence, but they're not sort of as sensational as, like, if you look even just through American history, the civil rights movement did succeed and people changed their mind. And you had wonderful leaders and people who are now icons to us, like Martin Luther King Jr. We are capable of it. Now, does it mean we're capable of it without? Do I have any examples where some shit didn't go down? Not really. But as far as if you mean violence as in a civil war, I don't think we are past the point that a civil war is going to be necessary. Though we do see that in the past there are levels of extremism that have only been solved basically with violence. I'm hoping the next solution is just to start uploading people to the Matrix and let them go live in their porn lands wherever they want.
See, what the problem you're running into with this is how much of Christian nationalism is achieved through violence. That's the problem. I mean, to stop something like this without violence means both sides have to be willing to work together, and that's what you're running into. Is they have to be able to come together, hear each other's side, figure out how to fix the problem peaceably. That's the only way peace happens.
I might suggest we just give them Florida and let the problem solve itself.
That would work.
Of course you would give them Florida.
Yeah, not Texas.
Knowing that it won't even be there in 10 years.
Yeah.
But they also will be gone in 5 if we gave them Texas.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'd be good. That would work.
Shall I pick up on verse 15?
Yes.
All right, and we'll just go at it. I'm sorry for all the distractions. But behold, the Lord hath redeemed my soul from hell. I beheld his glory, and I'm encircled about eternally in the arms of his love. That's not my best Gilbert Gottfried.
I'm seeing a red parrot.
That's right. Thank you. I'm glad the reference was appreciated. I'm just gonna keep switching impressions.
I don't know. I think Arn needs to answer you in the what's his name? Zofar, whatever the fuck his name was. Jafar in his
It's
voice.
been too long since I've seen that movie. I can't remember how to do Jafar.
I don't know if I do either. I just remember him going,
skinny,
Prince
Jafar
Abu.
was the guy that everybody said that I looked like.
Jafar, too many of us who grew up with Aladdin as we resolved our bisexuality, recognized that Jafar was kind of a babe.
Yeah. So was Gaston. That's why the one thing I liked in the live action one is that they made his little sidekick guy, whatever, LeFou, he was gay. And I like that one. I was like, that was good. That was good. Anyway.
But they got the guy they got to play him was fine. I think the dude who plays Superman, Henry Cavill, should have been the guy, but that's just me.
And Gaston?
For Gaston, fuck yeah.
Yeah, he would have been good, but I liked.
Do you hear the way that Jimmy says, "Oh yeah"?
Oh man.
What was his name? Was it Luke Evans who played Gaston? He was Bard in the Hobbit movies.
Who knows? No one. That's my point.
Beautiful. He's beautiful.
He's fine.
Man.
I'm not kicking him out of bed.
Okay, so who got Bard?
Huh?
Bard?
You said somebody got Bard from some.
No, I said the guy who played Gaston in the live action Beauty and the Beast was the same one who played Bard in the Hobbit movies.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Verse 16 is Donald, I suppose.
Sure, why not?
And I desire that you should remember to observe the statutes and the judgments of the Lord. Behold, this has been the anxiety of my soul from the beginning. And my heart hath been weighed down with sorrow from time to time, for I have feared, lest for the hardness of your hearts the Lord of your God should come out in the fullness of his wrath upon you, that ye be cut off and destroyed forever. I don't know where to go from there. Charlie Day, does no one know who that is?
Okay. Yes, of course, that's Stewie Griffin, you dick.
Yes. This is my
verse
most
are we on?
practiced. 18.
8.
Okay, well then let me take over.
Mhm.
And I will be the claymation monster from Flesh, not Flash, but Flesh Gordon.
Okay.
Or that a cursing should come upon you for the space of many generations.
Is Flesh Gordon a porn parody?
That's what I thought it must be.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be something.
And ye are visited by the sword and by famine, and are hated, and are led according to the will and captivity of the devil.
For those of us born after the invention of the steam engine, what is this? I'm just gonna get worse and worse further back each time.
And Bryce, I got into that movie when I was 13 by
Oh,
accident.
it was a porn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
it was a great movie. It had the female lead was Dale Hardon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
They had
And-
sex
Porn was
rays.
so much better once upon a time.
They had
and-
sex
and
rays.
there was the Russian scientist Flexi Jerkoff,
Oh my God.
and they were going up to the planet Porno, which was ruled by the Emperor Wang, his ass holiness.
in a spaceship shaped like a penis.
Which that's prophetic because what was it? Bezos invented that very spaceship.
Yep.
Flesh.
Oh my God.
Uh,
You got to do the
And
all
at
right.
one point, they were attacked by screwbots and also by the dread Penosaurus.
Winner of the universe.
Oh my God. Yeah, this was not something I even heard of back when I was young. That came out in 1974, and I was just this little sheltered little girl there in Mormon land. I didn't hear any of this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, my sons, that these things might not come upon you, but that ye might be a choice and a favored people of the Lord.
Flesh
But
Gordon can
behold,
come upon
For
you.
a second there,
But
I have to say
behold,
this looked like it said choice and flavored.
will be done.
Flavored people.
I was
We're
like,
choice
wait,
beef.
okay. All right.
For
Anyway,
his
go ahead.
ways are righteousness forever. And I'm going to slip into Tim Curry if I'm not careful.
That'd be good. I'd like that.
And he that hath said that inasmuch as ye shall keep my commandments, ye shall prosper in the land. But inasmuch as ye shall keep my commandments, ye shall be cut off.
You will
From
not
my
keep my
presence.
commandments. You gotta do that too. If you keep my commandments, you're gonna prosper. You'll get lots of money and everything. But if you don't, then you're gonna die.
Oh, and they'll allude to some of the stuff to come, the racist stuff here soon.
Allude to it, yeah. They can't.
Yeah,
go
I don't think
through
they
a
say the
chapter
skin
without
thing.
at least times.
They foreshadow a curse,
Yep.
which the curse is the skin curse.
Yep.
I do want to point out something that is only available to people who have a Book of Mormon comparative study like this from Dan Weiss or from Royal Skousen. The original and printer's manuscripts, all of this is Lehi preaching to his sons. So he's talking about God's commandments as his, but these were changed to my. So these were words that the original and printer's manuscript were written as Lehi telling it to his sons, and then once the book was actually published, it was changed to God is saying these things.
Yeah.
Wait, these were human editors that made this change?
Yep.
And how did the believers not see through this?
Oh yeah, because we don't talk about it.
All they say, this is like talking about the various versions of the first vision, is they're like, well, no, yeah, there was a bunch of changes, but it was because there were problems. Printers do make mistakes. So those were the changes. They're not going to look to see what the changes were, because then, you have to recognize that somebody was lying to you somewhere, and you don't dare look for that, because if you find out they were lying to you, then you have to recognize the fact that you were too gullible to catch it, and then you got to fix all that. And so, the more you're stuck in all of that, the harder it is to look and remember that the emperor doesn't have any clothes on. Yeah.
I can't help but just be totally amused by that line of argumentation, because it's like the editors made this choice. It's like, have you seen the original manuscript? There's not a single iota of punctuation in the whole fucking thing. There's not a single comma. There's not a single period. There's not a single capitalized word at the beginning of a sentence, because there are no sentences. There aren't even paragraphs. It's just written block text. All of the ands are ampersands. So of course the editor made some mistakes, because you had
source material.
Look what he was having to work with.
Right, which is how that's the excuse, and that makes a lot of sense as an excuse for, those were the changes made. But what you're told as a Mormon is they didn't change the content. They just fixed the punctuation. They turned it into verses. They, that kind of thing.
Daddy made you some content.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering. I've often commented that why is it that God can make planets and dinosaurs and everything that humans can't make?
Right.
But he can't make anything humans can make.
Yeah.
He can't make a box or a boat or a book or a building.
I kind of made light bulbs. There
can
were rocks that he touched.
So, he did that, and he
Yeah.
can help you find your keys. Don't forget that.
That's right. That's
God
true.
did invent submarines.
It's always people have to do God's work to make those things.
Yep.
You know, it was like in the Old Testament, you have very specific instructions for what the raiment that Aaron is supposed to be given, how it's supposed to have gold and jewels and everything sewn into his how all of the finery that we're supposed to give to Aaron, how all of that is, we have instructions on how people are supposed to build that, how people are supposed to build the Ark of the Covenant, the specific details on how they're supposed to build Noah's Ark, for example.
Well, the Liahona would have been manufactured
God
by one of them.
Provided Noah with a fucking starship.
That's true.
But he didn't. He said, no, go out and figure out what the fuck gopher wood is.
Mm-hmm.
The Liahona, though, right? That's an exception.
The Liahona did just appear out of thin air. That is an exception. But like,
who do you think he forced to make it? Like
people, people are tasked with what God can't make, as well as what God can't unmake, because people are the ones always carrying out God's wars too.
It's because God is a lazy ass SOB. That's why. He's like, you go do it. You go do it. You do it.
I think it was one of the daughters of Ishmael, and she was trying to point it back to Jerusalem that made the Liahona. I was like, oh my God, look, we have to go back. We have to go home.
I'm seeing a recurrent message because in yesterday's Bible study, someone commented that God is just a dick.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, I could adjust sensitivity. We could try some Book of Mormon ASMR in here.
Yeah.
Who's in for it?
Don't ruin my love for ASMR with the Book of Mormon.
I was gonna try to get your nipples a little hard with the Book of Mormon ASMR.
You just being here already does that. You don't have to do anything special.
All right, shall we read on?
Yes.
21?
Yeah.
And now that my soul might have joy in you, and that my heart might leave this world with gladness because of you, that I might not be brought down with grief and sorrow to the grave, arise, arise from the dust, my sons, and be men, and be determined in one mind and in one heart, united in all things, that ye may not come down into captivity.
And Mormons love to use this: arise from the dust and be men.
Lord
and
Vader.
That's one of their things of, when they're telling their teenage boys, be a man, be men, go on a mission, be men. Yeah. Follow all this shit.
Coursing river. Sorry.
That's right. That's right. There is something very strange about how they got away from being bearded. You'd almost expect that to have held on. Like, what is it? Like the first half of the Mormon prophets, all very impressive beards. And now to do anything in leadership, you have to be clean cut and just looking like a fucking
George Albert
twink,
had
really.
one even. They had him up until at least the 40s or 50s.
Now it's just a bunch of twinks.
I think it was.
I think Nelson would look better with one.
I think most of them would look better with one.
He wouldn't be worse.
Anything that would cover their face, yes.
Yeah. And just really full one. Except they can't really grow them anymore. Yeah. All right.
That you may not be cursed with a sore cursing. I don't know what the difference between. Okay, and also that
imaginations to think about that for a moment.
The sore cursing, yeah, I feel like that's sort of like a what are those things? What are those things that pop out of our butts? They hurt. Starts with an H. You get cream for them. Hemorrhoids. I think we're talking about hemorrhoids. Sorry,
I think it's boils. I'm
mind blocked.
It's always boils. Yeah.
I'm mind blocked on hemorrhoids, and my best description was those things that pop out of our butts. All right, anyway. So I don't know. You, without saying hemorrhoid, describe hemorrhoids. It can't be done.
I would not be describing it as something that pops out of my butt, though.
Well
I'm like, that's just, yeah.
I'm jealous of your golden asshole, I guess. Anyway, that you may not.
What pops out of my ass is not hemorrhoids.
That you may not be cursed with a sore cursing, and also that you may not incur the displeasure of a just God upon you unto the destruction. Yeah, the eternal destruction of both soul and body.
And they love to call God just, because if they don't call him that, everyone will know he is not a just God. He's an asshole. He's Kylo Ren.
Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's supposed to be like, he's just God.
He's just a god.
It's
The
just
displeasure.
Once again, Gilbert, that printer putting the comma in the wrong spot. He's
That's
just
right.
God.
That you may not incur the displeasure of just a god upon you.
He's
That's what it
saying
should
no
have been.
coffee or
He
beer,
reversed it.
but
He
that's
reversed
just
it.
God.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's supposed to be just a, not a just. That's
Okay.
There we
All right,
go.
let me do 23.
Do it.
Awake, my
Awake.
sons. Put on the armor of righteousness. Shake off the chains which ye are bound, and come forth out of obscurity, and arise from the dust. Rebel no more against your brother, whose views have been glorious, and who hath kept the commandments from the first time that we left Jerusalem, and who hath been an instrument in the hands of God in bringing us forth unto the land of promise. For were it not for him, we must have perished with hunger in the wilderness. Nevertheless, ye sought to take away his life. Yeah, and he hath suffered much sorrow.
You know where else we wouldn't have perished with hunger? Back home. We have an
In
In-N-Out
Jerusalem.
burger back there. You're here in the wilderness going, let's get some berries and make bullshit bows.
We have money back at home. We were rich.
I have a double for lunch every fucking day, you asshole.
You
Try
know, that
finding a decent
awake and
bagel in the
arise,
wilderness.
rise out of the dust. I keep picturing that Ice King or whatever the fuck he was, the zombie king in Game of Thrones, when he just suddenly raised up everybody who
Yeah.
was dead. That's what I pictured right there.
I wanted his head to sway as he did it, as he's
Just
lifting it up.
rise. Yes. Anyway, all right.
That would have been cool, yeah.
That would have been dope.
And been more cool than what he's doing here. All right.
I forgot
Bryce
where we
should
left.
read. Bryce
25.
should read. 25.
And I exceedingly fear and tremble because of you, lest he shall suffer again. For behold, ye have accused him that he sought power and authority over you. But I know that he hath not sought power nor authority over you, but he hath sought the glory of God in your own eternal welfare. This
Every
is how we know
D&D
it's second Nephi, because it's just rehashing first Nephi.
Right.
This is a shitty sequel.
Every
Yes.
D&D dungeon master who's ever had a character, an NPC that was an old man but was secretly a wizard knows the voice you're doing right now.
No, for sure.
All right, I want to do the next verse. We're on 26 now, right?
You just like to say
Yes.
murmur.
Okay. And ye have murmured because he hath been plain unto you. Ye say that ye hath used a sharpness. Ye say that ye hath been angry with you. But behold, his sharpness was the sharpness of power, and the word of God which was in him. And that which ye anger was the truth, according to that which is God, which he could not restrain, manifesting boldly concerning your iniquities.
You kind of sound like you fuck horses. I'm just saying. Just sort of sounds.
That was my best John Wayne. Damn it.
Oh, all right, then. Yeah, you nailed it. John Wayne definitely fucked horses. Let's get real. I just thought you were doing a sort of Southern preacher. I thought we were going to get the, and it must needs be that the power of God must be with him, even unto his commanding you that he must obey. The adding the uhs at the end of, but behold, it was not he, but it was the Spirit of the Lord, which was in him, which opened his mouth to utterance that he could not shut up. Oh, shut it. Sorry, my apologies.
Same thing.
My apologies.
All right, who's taking the next verse?
The edit there is they added the word it.
Yeah.
So that sentence actually ends with just shut.
Oh,
Could not
Really?
shut.
Wow.
Okay.
It's funny.
what
I
a
thought
Book
this was
of
just
Mormon
rule
way
that
to
Ye
say
shall
shut up.
not add to or subtract from the word of God.
Right.
Mm.
Can't do that.
And then
Prepositions are
just
fine.
before- or just after they said that,
The first time they added a New Testament, and then in the New Testament they said it again,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then just after they said it again, they added the Quran
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and the Book of
Who is
Mormon.
the they you speak of?
You know. Is this a cue drop? What are we doing?
Come on.
Okay. Who's
Okay.
And
next?
now
Me?
my son Laman,
Okay.
and also Lemuel and Sam, and also my sons, who are the sons of Ishmael. Behold, if you will hearken unto the voice of Nephi, ye shall not perish. And if ye will hearken unto him, I will leave unto you a blessing, yea, even my first blessing. Who wants to do the next one?
We
It's-
left
Like
all of
Christopher
our
Lee's
gold and all of our riches and all of our clothes at home, but you're going to give me a blessing?
Mm,
That's my inheritance?
that's Mormonism.
Go walk
Oh,
into the
who
desert
knew?
and die, you piece of shit.
Well, you know, we
Yes.
were reading Genesis 27 yesterday, and that was a big damn deal. That
Yeah.
that your father could like make a toast to you, and as if that was going to come true.
Yeah.
And it sounded an awful lot like Cinderella. Okay, yeah, that she will
Yes.
indeed grow in grace and beauty, but on her 16th birthday,
That's
there was
Aurora.
that whole kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
It
Did
was
you
so
ever-
obviously fairy tale, but it's really, it disturbs me that people take this as history.
Bryce, did
Yeah.
you ever curse anyone with your priesthood?
No, I was way too kind of a person to do such a thing.
I do think like
Plus
I'd
you
meet
were
somebody
only
like
Aaronic priesthood, though. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
curse
yeah.
them. You can't curse with the Aaronic priesthood.
That didn't
you can
matter
only
that
do
much
that
to
with
me.
the Melchizedek.
I think I
Yeah.
started doing it when I was 9 using my future priesthood.
Oh my god.
By the power of the priesthood which I will hold, but I would do it in my head. So it'd be like I'd have like somebody who was just a dick, and it's like, by the power of the priesthood which I hold, you will be humbled for
By the
this.
power of
I will
Great
be-
Skull. Yeah.
Yeah, just that something would happen to humble them one day.
Yes. You always want that.
As
In
a
fact, there was
Pulitzer
a time
Prize
when
wanting journalist,
Yes.
often said. Never mind. Go ahead.
no, there was a time that women actually would give blessings in the name of the priesthood that their husband held. And then the first presidency is like, okay, you guys stop doing that. You can't do that.
There's
anymore.
the story of supposedly, was it Emma who resurrected an ox using the power of her husband's priesthood, or healed an
Bryce?
ox?
I think that was on the Overland Trail, not with Emma. I think
Okay.
that's a story that comes out of the Utah tradition.
Maybe it's
I would
Brigham's wife.
suspect that would be an urban legend like the ones of, girl missionaries out being followed by some of those 1,000 stripling.
I feel like this
warriors
was
to
out of
save
the
them
lesson
from a-
handbook.
Yeah, I doubt it.
I mean,
That would
when
not
you-
be, because this is not something they want women to do. Because, like I brought up before, women have no power in this church. There's none.
They almost hit that story with the Legacy movie, because the woman that we're following in Legacy, she like her ox like goes down on a knee or whatever, and she just prays and then starts dragging the ox, and then it gets back up. But she
Mm.
doesn't actually, like in the movie, of course, because it's like a Mormon movie produced by the church. Of course, she doesn't like lay her hands on the ox's head
Right.
to revitalize it.
Yeah. This was an option for women to do for a while, but they stopped it. They did stop it. Within my lifetime, they've stopped it. And so I'm just trying to remember which one of the prophets said something. It was a letter read to
No,
me.
yeah, okay. So it's on the church's website. It was Mary Fielding Smith.
There you go.
One day,
recall.
one of her best oxen became very sick, lay down, and was apparently near death. Had this happened, she could not have continued on the journey to the valley. Mary got a bottle of consecrated oil and asked 2 brethren to administer to the sick ox. Although administration to the sick had only been used for humans, Mary believed that the Lord... Okay, so she still got some dudes in there.
They got dudes doing it.
Yeah, believed that the Lord would heal the animal. This is the one that I think this is the story I had mixed up.
Yeah. It's very easy to do because those things
500.
turn into urban legends.
Well, and that's
And
also,
so-
I mean, she's one of the matriarchs of the Utah church because her
Yeah.
son Joseph F. Smith became the prophet, ushered the church into the 20th century, and then his son Joseph Fielding Smith became prophet. And
Wait, there's
Yeah.
Joseph F. Smith, which is obviously not Joseph Smith. There's
Yeah, so
Remember
we got-
the F.
So it's,
we
it's
got-
Joseph fucking Smith, and then there's Joseph Fielding Smith, which is not Joseph F. Smith. There's an F. Smith and there's a Fielding Smith because
correct.
Yes.
And then concomitant with Joseph F. Smith is Joseph Smith III, who was running the RLDS church
Yeah.
back
the-
in the Midwest.
Yeah. Joseph F. Smith and Joseph Fielding are descendants of Hiram, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Joseph Smith III, of course, is a descendant of Joseph. So Hiram, Joseph brothers. Then Hiram's lineage went and followed Brigham out to the Utah church. Joseph's lineage stayed in the Midwest and created the RLDS, a reorganization.
Right.
in case you don't feel appreciated, Bryce, I mean, I very much appreciate that you have some background knowledge.
God, he's got
Into
more than anybody.
Here,
there
anyway.
might be a few church people who have it, but they're all afraid to say it. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I would love for you to get Stephen Snow on here, working for the Joseph Smith papers to help read the Book of Mormon with you. We can all dream of this.
We can dream.
Dream.
Dream. Oh my God. I love you, Jimmy. We both had the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay, but if he will not hearken unto him, I take away my first blessing. Yeah, even my blessing, and it shall rest upon him, meaning Nephi. So I'll just give Nephi all the shit. And now Zoram, remember him? Zoram, I speak unto you. Behold, thou art the servant of Laban. So he's still listed as a servant of Laban, even though he left. Nevertheless, thou hast been brought out of the land of Jerusalem, and I know that thou art a true friend unto my son Nephi forever. Wherefore, because thou hast been faithful, thy come shall be blessed with his come. Wow.
Wait,
That's super gay.
wait. So I just need to recap because I haven't been paying a lot of attention. So the guy's he's the son of Labia, and his
No.
tongue will be blessed.
He was the servant of Labia.
Servant,
his-
the tongue and the servant of Labia.
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, super gay. Okay. That they dwell in prosperity long upon the face of this land, and nothing save it shall be iniquity among them, of course, because shall harm or disturb their prosperity upon the face of this land forever. Wherefore, if ye shall keep the commandments of the Lord hath consecrated this land for the security of thy seed, or come, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. With the
Well, the
seed
original
of my
translation
son.
said jisms. So
Yes.
I somehow
Fact.
doubt that you're being forthcoming.
when have I been known to have a dry humor?
Oh my God. And that's the end of chapter 1.
Can we just review an overall timeline of what we have gone through in this book?
Well, I was
so
actually
far?
going to ask you to do that because we've been doing all of this in silly voices, and I can't summarize what we just read, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lehi is the patriarch of the family, drags his family out to America because Jerusalem's about to be destroyed. His son Nephi is a super duper special Nephi. He's going to be the super chosen boy, prophet boy.
Because
Who
he just
Mormons
does
love
everything
to be
he's
just
told.
like. That's right. And of course, because Nephi is the chosen and purest of all of the sons of Lehi, his older brothers Laman and Lemuel were like, no, fuck him. And they had a huge conflict with each other. And then Nephi was like, hey, I really, really want to see the visions that my dad saw. And God was like, whoop, here you go. Here's your visions. And then Nephi was like, I really like this book, Isaiah. I'm just going to reprint a whole shitload of it. And now we start the second book of Nephi where it's like, oh, fuck, wait, there was a conflict. Shit, I should resolve that real quick. And then we go
can't
back to
forget that
narrating
we have
by
Lehi there.
Lehi.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and that's important to remember. Lehi was there because, that was a storyline that got dropped, so he's got to finish it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this, what we are doing right now, what we read right now, is the resolution of the conflict that started in First Nephi chapter 2.
Right.
Now that conflict is resolved because Daddy steps in and says, Nephi, you're the chosen one.
And this is kind of like a copy of what happened with Jacob when I think it's Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, or maybe it was Isaac. I don't remember which one. Anyway, when he's dying and he's like, "Yeah, gotta give my last thing, will and testament to everybody." That's what Lehi's doing right now.
Isn't it funny how the chosen one, like in any given religion, is always some guy saying that God chose him? It's never that God shows up and says, "He is the one." No, it's always that guy saying, "Yeah, God said I'm the one."
God said I'm the one. Yeah, that happened with Ron Lafferty too. And the thing to remember too is, this attitude for Mormons is Nephi knows he's the chosen one because his brothers are fighting him over it. So, that persecution thing. So, yeah. Good times.
All right.
Guys, I think the book might not be true. I'm sorry. I don't want to be.
No, Jimmy, you're so wrong. You need to go sit down and pray about it. You haven't prayed hard enough. You need to pray.
I'm praying as hard as I can.
You're not listening. That's the problem. Or maybe God is just testing you because you're not showing enough faith, Jimmy. So keep praying about it and keep reading it, and you will just eventually know, because I just know this is true.
Or the easier path, just redefine the word true. Just make true whatever you want it to mean, and then you don't have all these conflicts.
I'm on my knees every night taking the prophet's seed. That's what I know.
Good for you.
Okay.
Just the picture of you and rusty nails has got me ready to throw up.
Let's pick a different prophet.
Yeah.
All right. So as I said before, I am not going to be available next week. So I understand there's a big reptile festival that I have to do.
Oh, you must. Sounds so tough. I think the one in Houston might be bigger. I think you might be missing the good one.
It may be, but my daughter and granddaughter are going to meet me at the one in Fort Worth next week, and so I'm going to meet my 2-year-old granddaughter and show her 10,000 snakes.
You're the patriarch. Call them to repentance. Get them to Houston.
Yes. You just learned how to do the call them to repentance thing.
Absolutely.
It's easier to take the 2-year-old an hour home than 4 hours or 5 hours home. So
you just have to say things like murmur a lot. Murmur not.
Yes.
But anyway, so we're going to miss next week. And so the next time we come back, we were on first Nephi.
Second
Nephi chapter 1. We are going to be doing second Nephi chapter 2.
Which is going to be the foundation isn't this the foundation of the church's claim that we have agency and free will and all that shit?
Probably.
I think this is Adam felt that man might be are that they might have joy.
They might have joy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I needed another summary. So we're in the new world now, right?
Yes.
No. Wait, but we're not in the. Are we on the American continent?
Yes.
Now? Yeah.
We crossed the ocean.
I was gone for the boat.
I somehow missed the whole thing with the submarines.
No. That's much later. The submarines.
Not till the Book of Ether.
The submarines happen later in the book, but past in time. So it's supposed to be Tower of Babel time, but we don't get it until first and second books of Nephi, Jacob, Enos, Jeremiah, Words of Mormon, Amaziah. Oh yeah, Ether. It's all the way. We'll be doing drugs for that book too.
Okay, so just let me clarify. I mean, so it was boats when it was originally written, and then around about the Civil War, they invented submarines, and that's when suddenly Joseph Smith comes up with the revelation that they had submarines 600 years earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not good submarines. These are just they're basically boats in either direction. You build the bottom of the boat on the top as well, so that they can be taken down into the waves. And during storms and stuff, their holes are tight, like unto a dish. And
the sides are. It's like a walnut.
You can flip around.
It's like a walnut, and it just opens up. If you open your walnut around the seams without breaking it, it's like that. Except you've got holes poked in the top and the bottom that you got to plug up when you're underwater.
Okay, well, when we get to the submarines, be sure to remind me, because I'm going to be like Samwise Gamgee seeing his first elf. I'm going to be really excited.
Aaron, we're talking 2 years from now.
We are at the rate
I'm not even kidding. Yeah. We're talking
look,
the second to last book.
We're here, right? Ether is
Second to the last book. Yep.
That's their Nephi. There's Ether. That's the
Oh,
end
crap.
of the book.
It's
That's
as
Ether.
far from the end as we are from the beginning
Yeah.
now.
I mean, everybody loves the story of the
You know,
subs.
for a man of my age, that's not good news.
Nope.
You don't know if you're going to make the journey to the promised land.
So, yeah.
All right. So I will see all of you, hopefully all of you, in 2 weeks' time.
Yep.
And
Sounds like fun.
again, I want to express sincere gratitude for you guys being involved in this project. This is a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm really happy that you guys have signed on.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you
Having
one
fun.
thing. This is one thing I've really noticed with all of this, because like I've said before, I read it 65 plus times before, but this is the very first time that I've read it with a real true critical eye, and it's making this much more fun, honestly, than any of the other 65 plus times that I read it. So this is a delight. I would, if I miss any of these, is because I absolutely cannot be here, not because I don't want to be here.
I haven't read it 65 times, certainly more than a dozen, maybe around 2 dozen. This, I would say the thing I like about this time is the real focus on snakes and spiders. I'm enjoying that the most because I
The
can't say
tangents are the best.
I can't say I enjoyed the book one bit, but snakes and spiders, that's my language.
I enjoy letting rural grandma out.
Yeah, that's right.
Outstanding. All right. I'm gonna let you guys go.
Bye, everyone.
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Take care.